In today's video, I'm going to be explaining variables. What is a variable and how to use it? Well, the definition of variable is that it's a character or letter that represents a number. So let's go over some notation. So if you're given an expression 4a, that means simply 4 times a. That can also be written as 4 times a. If you're given the expression 5xy, that's the same thing as 5 times x times y, or 5 times x times y. Now, if you have 6 over 2, that's the same thing as 6 divided by 2. So, if you have, let's say, 8 over r, that is really 8 divided by r. So that's just important notation to know when dealing with algebraic expressions. Now, let's go over some examples. Let's say I say solve x plus 9 if x is equal to 1. So this is just saying evaluate this expression when I say that x is 1. So you just take that number 1 and plug it in for x, because x is 1 in this case. So you have 1 plus 9 equals 10. Now, what if I say to solve x plus 9 if x equals 2? You take this 2, you plug it in for x, because in this instance x is 2. So then that becomes 2 plus 9, which equals 11. So let's move on to our next example. Example 2. Now, let's do 4r if r equals 2. Same exact concept. Plug the 2 in for the r right here, but we know 4r is really 4 times r, so we're going to have 4 times 2, which will equal 8. Now let's go on to example 3. Example 3 says, if a equals 1, b equals 3, and c equals 5, solve bc plus a times c minus b. So this one, it's a lot longer and it looks a little trickier, but it's still the same concept. We're going to take these numbers and plug them in for the variable that they correspond with. So let's plug those in first. We know that b is 3, so we're going to say 3. BC means b times c, so that's going to be 3 times our c is 5. So 3 times 5 plus our a is 1. And then we have a parentheses. Again, our c is 5 minus our b is 3. So we plugged all the variables in, and now all we have is numbers, so we just have to use PEMDAS to solve. So we start, like in our last video, parentheses first. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So you're going to have 3 times 5 plus 1 times 2. That's what was in the parentheses. Now we do multiplication. 3 times 5 is 15, and 1 times 2 is 2. 15 plus 2 equals 17. So that would be our answer for example 3. Now, let's go on and we'll do one more example, example 4. In this example, I'm going to say that x is equal to 2 and y is going to be equal to 6. And I'm going to ask you to solve x, y all over 3. So this means x times y all over 3, which we know when you put a number as a fraction, it's really division. So it's going to be x times y divided by 3. But this division acts as a parentheses, so we're going to evaluate the top before we divide by the denominator. So now let's plug in what we know. X is 2, so 2 times y is 6, so x times y is 2 times 6 divided by 3. Parentheses first, 2 times 6 is 12, and we're left with divided by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So 4 is our answer to example 4.